Okay, so this is the 2381 paper, March 2009, higher tier, Unit 2, Stage 1. So question 1. Given that 47 times 81.6 equals 3,835.2, what is the value of 0.47 times 816? So what I would do is I break this question down. What have they done to this number? Well, they've made this number 100 times smaller. So this number is 100 times smaller than you had up here. And then this number here, they've made it 10 times bigger. So we can work out what's going to happen to the answer. Because it's a multiplication, this answer got 100 times smaller, so we'd expect the answer to be 100 times smaller. But this answer got 10 times bigger, which on its own would expect the answer to be 10 times bigger. So if we've got 100 times smaller and then 10 times bigger, what's it going to end up being? We're going to have 10 times smaller. So what is that but 10 times smaller? So it's going to be 383.52, which is somewhere. 383.52 is here. Okay. Next question, let's collect like terms. So we've got 5e plus e is going to give us 6e. We've got minus 3f plus 4f, or swap them around. 4f take away 3f is going to give me f. That is a positive f. So 6e plus f is here. Question 3. So this is a trapezium. You must learn the formula for area of trapezium. It is not given to you in the exam. So there's two different ways of remembering it. I prefer a plus b all over 2 times h. Some people I know prefer a half a plus b h. It is your choice. I don't mind which one you remember. Okay, I'm just going to try and focus this a bit better. Okay, so I prefer this one. A and b in both instances are the parallel sides, this side and this side. It's unusual to see a trapezium this way up because a lot of people think maybe top and bottom, but no, it's the parallel sides. So a plus b, 10 plus 3 is 13. Half it, you get 6.5. So we've got 6.5 times by our height, which in this instance is this 8. Okay, so 6.5 times 8. Without a calculator, what would I do? I'd do 65 times 8. And then I'd put the decimal point in afterwards. So 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48. 48 plus 4 is going to give me 52. Now let's put the decimal point back in. I had one number after the decimal point in my question, one number after the decimal point in my answer. So I'm looking for 52. There we go. Next, factorize. Factorize, I'm thinking brackets. What goes into both terms, or x goes into both terms? Anything else? No, that's the only thing I can take out. X times x gives me x squared. X times 3 gives me 3x. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. C. Okay, question 5. Midpoints. So midpoints are super easy. If you watch my other two videos, you'll know exactly what we're doing by now. So I basically want to find halfway between 2 and 8, and I want to find halfway between 1 and 6. There are a couple of different ways of doing that. You can find the average. So 2 plus 8 is 10. Half it, you get 5. And 1 plus 6 is 7. Half it, you get 3.5. That's the simple. That's the quickest way to do it. Another way to do it would be to maybe draw a little number line and work out what goes halfway between 2 and 8. But we're looking for 5 and 3.5. So there you go. What is the lowest common multiple of 24 and 60? Well, let's count up in 24s and 60s. So 24, 48, 72. No, yes. 72 plus 24 is going to give us 70, 80, 90, 96. Okay, might need to go further, but let's just double check. Let's count up in our 60s, 60, 120. Okay, we need to keep going further. So 96 plus 24 is going to give me 120. Okay, 120 appears in both lists. It's the smallest number that appears in both lists. Therefore, that is my lowest common multiple. Next, arithmetic sequence. What are we counting up in? Well, I've gone up by 5. I've gone up by 5. I've gone up by 5. So I'm going to write down 5. It's an nth term question, so I write down an n. And I say to myself, what goes here? Well, if I went up by 5 and got 3, then I need to take away 5, which is going to leave me at minus 2. And it's minus 2 that I pop on the end. Okay, so 5n minus 2. Don't know why I draw a box and not a circle, but there you go. Okay, next question. We are doing adding fractions. We hopefully know by now that we need to have the same number on the bottom of both. The denominators need to be the same. I've chosen 15 because 3 times 5 is 15. That works nicely for me. And I'll say, what have I done to my 3 to get to 15? I've times it by 5. Therefore, I times the top by 5. What have I done to my 5 to 15 to get... What have I done to my 5 to get to 15? I've times it by 3. Therefore, I times the top by 3. I then add the tops and leave the bottom the same. So I've got 13 over 15. Double check. Sometimes you're then able to simplify this, so it might not appear in the list, but double check. Okay, next. The weight of a suitcase is 14 kilograms, correct to the nearest kilogram. Right, whenever you've got a question like this, you see what it's been rounded to and you half it. So we're going to add on 0.5 kilograms and we're going to take off 0.5 kilograms. And that will give us our upper bound and our lower bound, okay? So the greatest possible weight of the suitcase, we want upper bound. So we're going to do 14 plus 0.5 is going to give me 14.5 kilograms. Next question, surface area. For this kind of question, I will always draw out my shapes, okay? So I've got this end shape here. So I've got a triangle, which is a 4 by 3, and I have that on both sides. So I've got 2 of those. I'm also going to have this base. So that's a 10 by 4 rectangle. Some of you might not need to draw it out. I'm just not very good at thinking 3D in my head. So I always do this to help me, okay? And then my other shape, so how many of those have I got? That base, a 10 by 4, is the only one I've got of that. This side, this back side here, well, that's another rectangle. I put 2, didn't I? There's only one of those. This back rectangle here, well, that's a 3 by 10. So I've done that one. And then it's really just this slopey face at the front, I guess, isn't it? So we've got a rectangle there, and that's going to be a 10 by 5. Let me count the sides, check I've got enough. Count the faces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are my faces. Yeah, I'm happy I've got those. So let's work them out. So 3 times 10, that's 30 centimeters squared. 40 centimeters squared, because area of a rectangle is base times height. 50 centimeters squared. How do I work out area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2, or half base times height. 3 times 4 is 12, half it, we get 6 centimeters squared. So my total surface area, we just have to add them all together. So I'm going to have a 30 plus a 40 plus a 50 plus a 6. Don't forget one other 6 as well. So that's going to give me, I didn't leave myself much room there, did I? So 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 132 centimeters squared. Okay. Question 11. What is the best estimate? Right. As soon as you see the word estimate, what we're thinking is one significant figure. So this to one significant figure is going to go to 40. This to 50. Bottom is going to go to 2. So 40 times 50, well, 4 times 5 is 20. And we can effectively put those zeros back on. Divided by 2. What's 2,000 divided by 2? It is 1,000. Okay. Next question. So, bearings, okay? There are some really important points about bearings. 3 things we need to remember. You read clockwise. That is thing number 1. Second thing to remember, it needs to be a 3-figure bearing. And third thing we need to remember is that you read round from north, okay? So, what we're going to do here is let's have a look which bearing it's asking me for. I want to know the bearing of P from Q. That means we need to draw our north arrow at Q, which they've already done for us. And we want to read round clockwise from north. So we know that angles round a point add up to 360. Therefore, we want this missing angle. 360 take away 30 is going to give me 330 degrees. Okay, there we go. Question 13. There are 80 litres of water in a tank. Rob turns the tap on. Water flows from the tank at a rate of 5 litres per minute. Now, as I've said in my previous videos, if you do not know the flow rate triangle, which I never remember, you can work it out in the exam. So it's telling us that the flow rate is 5 litres per minute. Litres is measuring volume. Minute is time. So you know the flow rate is volume divided by time, okay? So my flow rate is volume divided by time. Now we've got a triangle, this becomes super easy. So how many minutes, so I want time, will it take for the tank to be completely empty? I want volume divided by flow rate. So volume is going to be 80. Flow rate is going to be 5. So that's going to be 80 divided by 5. What's the trick of dividing by 5 in your head? Divide by 10 and double it. So that's going to give me 60. Okay. So 60. Now let's just check those units. We were dealing with minutes. So this is still going to be minutes. Is that what it wants the answer in? Yep, 16 minutes. Fine. Okay, good. Expand and simplify, a few different ways to do this. You can either do your FOIL or find a fish method, or use the grid. If I do FOIL, we've got x times x is x squared. X times minus 5 is minus 5x. 2 times x is plus 2x. 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. So simplify this bit. We've got x squared minus 3x minus 10. X squared minus 3x minus 10 is here. Okay. Product of its prime factors, I would use flower pot method for this. Use whichever method you prefer. So I'm going to split that into 21 and 10. 5 and 2, they're both now primes. 21, I'm going to do 7 and 3, which are both primes. So it's going to be 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. Let's check. Here we go. 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. Okay. Right, next question. Question 16, factorize completely. Now, when it says completely, or sometimes it says factorize fully, you must take out every single thing you can out of this question. You might be sat here thinking, hang on a second, I can take 4 out of both, or 2 out of both. Yeah, but what else can you take out? If you don't take out everything possible, you haven't factorized fully or factorized completely. So what can I take out? I could take out a 2, but I can also take out a 4. And then I'm going to take out an x. Okay, 4 times what gives me 8? 4 times 2 gives me 8. What else do I need? I've already got an x. I want another x and a y. Then for this side, 4x times 3 is going to give me my 12x. Let's have a look. 4x on the outside. Here we go. All right. Next, written in standard form. So what I would personally do is I'd work out where your new decimal point is going to go. It's going to go there. How many jumps have we made? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps. So our little number is going to be 4. Now, is this a really tiny number or a really big number? It's a really small number. Therefore, we're looking for the minus 4. If it was a really big number, like 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, then we'd be looking for the positive 4. Okay, this one. The secret to this question is we need to do this. Okay, this is x plus 3 times by itself. So we've got to do this. Now it's just normal, find the fish, FOIL, or your window method, whatever you want to do. X times x, x squared, plus 3x, plus 3x, plus 9. That gives me x squared plus 6x plus 9. X squared plus 6x plus 9 is here. Okay, factorize into double brackets. I want 2 numbers that times to make 24 and add to make 14. We know there aren't going to be any minus numbers because they're both positive, so that makes life easy. What 2 things times together to make 24 but add together to make 14? Well, we've got 12 and 2. Okay, 12 times 2 is 24. 12 add 2 is 14. So we're going to have 12 and 2. Next, for this, I would make this top heavy, and then we'll make them both top heavy fractions, improper fractions, and then multiply them across. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8. 8 add 1 is 9. So that first one becomes 9 over 4. The next one, 3 times 1 is 3. Add 2 is 5. So that becomes 5 over 3. Now, how do you multiply fractions? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. How do you multiply fractions? You times the numerators together. You multiply the denominators together, okay? Times across the tops, times across the bottom. 9 times 5 is 45. 4 times 3 is 12. Now, this doesn't look like any of those. Fine. Let's make it top heavy. So what I would do is I'd count up in 12s and work out how many 12s fit into 45. So we've got 12, 24, 36 is 3. So we're at 36, we want to get to 45, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. We've got 9 left over. Okay, so we're looking for 3 and 9 over 12. Now that still isn't in our list. Hopefully you can see what you need to do. We can simplify this, okay? So let's simplify 9 over 12. We've still got our 3 out the front. Let's simplify 9 over 12. 3 goes into both. That's 3 over 4. 3 3/4. Okay, hopefully you persevered long enough for that one. Next question, you choose whichever method you like. This kind of thing I'm going to show you with the window method, but you might prefer instead to do the foil method or the fish method, whatever you prefer. Okay, so we've got our 3x and we've got a 2y, we've got a 4x and we've got a minus 5y. So 3x times 4x gives me 12x squared. 4 times 2 gives me 8, and I'm going to have an xy. I've got 3 times minus 5 is minus 15xy, and then I'm going to have minus 10y squared. That should all fit in the box, but I drew my box too small. So we've got 12x squared plus 8xy minus 15xy minus 10y squared. We can simplify this middle bit here. So we've got 8xy minus 15xy. So that's going to give me negative 7xy. So we've got 12x squared minus 7xy minus 10y squared. So let's have a look. So it starts with a 12. We've got a minus 7xy and we've got a minus 10y squared. It's going to be this one. Okay, what have we got next? So question 22, we've got a factor question. So one factor of all of this is one of these. Interesting. Okay, so what would I do here? I'd probably expand it out and then try and factorize. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to expand this bit first. Okay, so x plus 3 all squared is going to be x plus 3, x plus 3. All right, so that gives me x squared plus 6x plus 9. Hopefully you can see I did x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. All right, simplified it as I went. So that's that first bit. All of that was times by 4. So I've got 4x squared plus 24x plus 36. All right, so that's that first bit. Then I want to take away 5 lots of x plus 3. So I'm going to take away 5x, take away 3. So we're going to have 4x squared. 24x take away 5x is positive 19x. 36 take away 3 is positive 33. Okay, so let's have a think. So we want to work out one factor of this. The easiest way to do that, well, there are a couple of different ways. You can either do the splitting method to work out how to factorize this correctly, or another method what you can do, is that going to work? Okay, well, a nice little thing that we can do here is the fact that we've got, we can kind of do a process of elimination. The fact that we know that this is going to go into double brackets, and we know we're going to have a 4x and an x, okay? 5x doesn't make any sense. We can't get to 4x squared with a 5x. That doesn't make any sense. Now, the number on the end, what we can do here is something... I'm not entirely sure this has gone right. I'll come back to this question, okay? I'll come back to this question. So, let's have a look at question 23. I feel like I may have messed up there. X squared plus 6x is 9. 4 times all of that. 4, 6 times 4. 24 plus 36, take away 5x. Guys, I found my mistake. I didn't expand this. Minus 5 times 3 is minus 15. Okay, so on the end, 36 take away 15. So 36 take away 15 is going to give me 21 on the end, not 33 on the end. 21 on the end, my apologies. So I want two numbers that times together to make 21. Well, is one of those numbers going to be a 5? No. Is one of those numbers going to be a 12? No. Is it going to be a 12? No. Is it going to be a 7? Yes. That's the only thing that I can do to times it to make 21 on the end. Okay? So that's how we're going to do that question. Next question. So The diagram shows a cuboid on a 3D grid. The coordinates of the vertex M are 6, 2, 3. Okay, so M is 6, 2, 3. And that's your X, your Y, then your Z. What are the coordinates of the midpoint LN? First thing we're going to need to do, there's a couple of steps here, is we need to work out the coordinates of L. All right, so what is the X coordinate of L? Well, M and L are the same distance along this line. So that's going to be a 6 as well. The Y coordinate of L is going to be exactly the same as the Y coordinate of M, because look, they're the same height. So that's going to be a 2. And then the Z coordinate, well, actually, it's going to be 0 for L, isn't it? Because look, the Z coordinate is all the way back against this rear wall. And now midpoint, super easy. What's halfway between 6 and 6? Well, 6. What's halfway between 2? Have I done something wrong here? What are the coordinates? Oh, okay, fine. Sorry, my bad. What are the coordinates of the midpoint of LN? Okay, LN is here. So what I need to do now is I need to actually work out the coordinates of N as well, and then I can work out the halfway between them. Okay, so the coordinates of N, well, the X coordinate of N is going to be 0. The Y coordinate of N is going to be the same height as M, which is 2. And the Z coordinate of N is going to be, because this is a rectangle, we know it's going to be 3. Okay, so now the midpoint of LN was halfway between 0 and 6. Well, if we do the average method, 6 add 0 is 6, and then half it is going to be 3. Then halfway between 2 and 2 is 2, and then 0 plus 3 is 3, half it is 1.5. So we're looking for 3 to 1.5, which is here, okay? Next, what do we need to do now? We need to factorize this. So the easiest thing to do with a question like this is just to expand these brackets, which is kind of cheating. But if it's a multiple choice question, absolutely you can do that. So let's just do a quick check. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. Fine. Let's check the numbers on the end. I want a positive 15 on the end. Minus 3 times minus 5 is 15. Minus 5 times minus 3 is 15. Minus 5 times minus 3 is 15. Minus 5 times minus 3 is 15. Minus 15 times minus 1 is positive 15. So all of those potentially, we've checked the main bits, are going to work, okay? So now what we can do is we can expand them out fully. So I've tried to do my cheat way, didn't really help me. Let's see if we can keep going, okay? So 4 times 2x, that's going to give me 8x squared minus 20x minus 6x, so minus 26x plus 15. So it's not going to be that one because you've got the wrong number in the middle. This one, we're going to have 8x squared minus 12x minus 10x is minus 22x. Well, that's not going to work because we need minus 29x. This one, we've got to have 8x squared. Then we've got minus 40 minus 3. Well, that's minus 43x. That's definitely not going to work. This one, we're going to have 8x squared. Then we're going to have minus 24 minus another 5, minus 29x plus 15. I will check the one on the end, but at the moment, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this one. Let's check 8x squared minus 8x minus another 15x. 8 take away 15 is not going to give me 29. Okay, so we know we're correct with that one. Okay, a plane is flying at a speed of 1,440 kilometers per hour. You need to remember your speed distance time triangle. Okay, I don't mind how you do it. I remember it, the D goes at the top, but it's up to you. You can remember STD, you can remember DST. I don't mind how you do it. Okay, so it's flying at speed. So we've got the speed in the exam. You can take a highlighter and highlight that. That's fine. How long in seconds we want time will take to fly a distance of a kilometer. Okay, so distance divided by speed. So how long will it take to fly a kilometer? Distance is 1440 divided by speed. Nope, no it's not. I can't read. Distance is 1 kilometer divided by speed, which is 1440. So 1 divided by 1440. Right, if we don't know what we're doing here, then the best thing to do is this is going to give us in hours, right? So what we need to do is to work out how many seconds this is going to be. So what I can do here is how many seconds in an hour is going to be 3,600. So if I times this answer by 3,600, then that's going to give it to me in seconds. So now all of a sudden this number becomes far nicer. So we've got 3,600 over 1440. We can cancel this down. I'm going to take the 0 of both of them. We've got 360 divided by 144. Okay, I can half both. 180 divided by 50, 60, 72. I can half both again. 90. Half of 72 is going to be 36. I know 3 goes into both. How many 3's go into 90? Well, how many 3's go into 30 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30. How many 3's go into 36? That's 12. I can keep going. So 3's go into both again. So how many 3's go into 30 is 10. How many 3's go into 12 is 4. So 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. Now that was a real long-winded way of doing it, but without a calculator, that's the easiest way I can think of. The maths wasn't hard, it was just a bit long. I think the hardest part about this question was the fact you wanted the answer in seconds and it gave you the speed in hours, okay? You could absolutely have converted that speed first, but I think this worked just as well, okay? End of the questions. Well done.